So, I thought I might like to go to the show. You know, feel that warm thriller of confusion, that space cadet glow. But they had bad news for me, sunshine. They said Pink wasn't well. He stayed back at the hotel. But it's okay. They sent along a surrogate band, and they found out where us fans really stand. I stand up against the wall. Hi everyone, I'm Nikki Esoteric, and I am a male to female transgendered individual. I am currently 4 months and 25 days on hormones, and my first video I discussed the first 4 months on hormones, and in my next video I will discuss the changes over the last month. This video instead is called The Pursuit of Nikki, and it is my journey from when I discovered I wasn't happy with my gender until I started hormones. And I hope to discuss the reaction at the end. I plan to do a lot of videos on top of my transition timeline ones, and talk about a variety of topics, not just trans issues, but I feel like getting a good knowledge of who I am, you know, helps the video a little bit, and I hope to kind of normalize trans people a bit so that others out there who don't really know any trans people could find one that they could relate to and make it a bit easier to accept our life. You know, what we're doing. So, how did I begin? I was 13 years old when I first realized there was a problem with my gender. It was between 7th and 8th grade that summer, about August, I want to say. And I don't know, just one night I couldn't fall asleep and thinking about it and thinking about it, and I don't exactly remember how it went, but I just remember thinking, what if I was a woman? And from that day forward, it was an obsession. It was an obsession that I kept hidden in my brain for 14 years. For most of that, no one had any idea there was anything, you know, going on up there. I mostly played the part of who I was. But in college, I started to actually spend a lot of time on 4chan. I know. This was around the era of demotivational posters, and you used to see other trans girls post pictures. They got the title trap, which some people don't agree with, some people have no issues with. I'm not here to debate the logistics of that, but these women, they posted pictures of themselves, sometimes sexy, sometimes not, and there really was a lot of support for them on these boards. I used to read people talking about it and, you know, treating them like women, like they were seen as beautiful women. And yeah, they made the trans part, and there was the whole group of people who don't like that, and the trolls and shit. But for the most part, their reception was generally pretty positive, at least from what I viewed. And it always kind of gave me hope, like deep inside, that I would be able to do this one day, and I wouldn't be so scared of it. And that didn't happen until I was 25, 26, and my last relationship ended. That's when I really started to explore this. I mean, I kind of started before the relationship ended. It was in October. I remember the first day. She was going home for a wedding or baby shower, and I had the apartment to myself for a whole weekend. And it was around Halloween, so I'm pretty sure it was October. I bought, from work, I bought purple and black tights, a cheap $5 Walmart shirt. It was black and it said love in pink letters, and a black, really formal pleated skirt. I was a mess of style, I'll tell you that. But as soon as I got home from work, I put it on, and I spent the whole day I spent the whole weekend dressed like that in my free time, and it was fantastic. There was something about it that just made me happy. Now, it was a few months before I got to do it again because, like I said, I lived with this girl and I wasn't really sure. She said she was cool with it, but she said she was cool with people doing like alternate lifestyles and stuff, and she was very LGBT supportive, but at the same time, she was very hypocritical. So I kind of played it safe, and I kept all the stuff hidden in my trunk. Every now and then, around Thanksgiving I got some time, around Christmas I got some time, and I would just sort of sneak around and do that. I'm not exactly proud of that because I don't really like lying or keeping secrets, but she was rather an abusive person, and I have a lot of scars I'm still dealing with from that. And so I was really scared of her, and I was scared of her discovering it. I was scared of what she would do when she found out, if she found out. But the relationship eventually ended. I broke up with her. I was free. And the first thing I did was I bought breast forms, more clothes, and some makeup, and just everything I needed to get started on this path. And oh my god, those first few days, I probably looked so amateur wearing the most bullshit stuff. But because at the time it was still kind of felt more like a fetish than, you know, this is something I'm going to pursue. I just felt it was something I was going to be doing every now and then. And that's what it did for a long time. It was, I would dress up for 4 or 5 days, and then I would put everything in a box in the closet and not touch it for a few weeks. Sometimes as much as 2 months, and I would do it again and go back and forth. And eventually, occasionally, I would be so ashamed of myself, and yeah, I was ashamed. I was afraid of what people would think of me for this. That I would purge, I would throw it all away, and I would have nothing. And then I would start over again, like a month later. I'd be buying new clothes, buying new breast forms, and it's expensive, and I was not making a lot of money at the time. The last time I purged was when I left Lancaster. I lived with my mom for a few months, and I didn't really get to do it. And eventually I got my own place, and again, almost immediately, I was buying clothes again. I was buying all that stuff again. And I was just doing it for like 4 or 5 days, and then I would get scared, someone would find out, or I would, you know, have my fun with it, and that would be it. I would be gone. It would be over with. Then November 2013 happened. I met Sanji through my friend Adam, and they stayed with me a few days while they were waiting to go to a con, and during that period of time, they knew I was a cross-dresser, they knew, and they'd seen it a few times that week. As, you know, if someone was okay with it, I would love someone to see this that time. At the time, there were only like 5 people who knew. And they convinced me to go to that con on Saturday and bring all my girly stuff. Now at the time I had this short black wig, which I still have, this outfit that just, these clothes that just did not match. They did not look like anything a sane woman would wear. You know, the colors didn't match, they were just stuff that I bought cheap on eBay. But, regardless, I brought all this stuff in my bag to the con, and when I got there, they let me into their hotel room, and their roommates, not roommates, the people they were sharing the room with did my makeup, they helped me dress, they did so much, and they were so grateful for their help. And when I looked in the mirror that first time, I could not contain it. I looked like a chick, and in a way I've never done before, not in a way I've ever done on my own, because I never did much with makeup. I did some eyeliner and lipstick. I really didn't understand the rest of it. And so, I walked around a con the entire day, where I only knew one person, and I met them a week before that. As a woman. And I consider that the day I came out. In November 2013. After that, I started telling more friends, and letting more people in on it, and I then started to, you know, I bought my first purple wig, I bought better clothes, I bought better makeup. I actually started spending some time in trying to look good. And I was happy. There was this feeling of happiness that I have never had before. As people started accepting me as this, I was overrun with happiness. Because before that, with that bad relationship and losing my father, I was in a really bad place for a few years. I gained a lot of weight. I kind of just let myself go. I let a lot of my friendships go. Coming out gave me a new drive, a drive I'd never had before. I rebuilt bridges with friends. I started dieting and completely overhauled my diet. And by January, I was down to 155 pounds from 180. I was talking to people I hadn't talked to in years. I made a second Facebook for, you know, this side of me, and start using that to connect to more people. And in March 2014 was a month I decided that I was going to go forth and transition. It was uneventful night. It was just me, and I was having a lot of internal thoughts. I was thinking about everything that happened over the last few years that got me to where I was. And I realized something. I realized that everything I ever did in Pursuit of Nikki benefited me. Whereas as a boy, I let people walk all over me. I let an abusive relationship happen. I let myself get consumed by depression and sadness, and I let things get to me, and I didn't anymore. Everything I did in Pursuit of Nikki was to better myself, whereas Nick, I didn't ever better myself. I'm currently down, and I love who I am. This day was one of the most important days of my entire life. It was the most important. I buried demons. I got past my father's death. I accepted myself as a woman. And in testament of how much I'm willing to do in the Pursuit of Nikki, the following week I was reading up on hormones, and I was reading, you know, what I have to do and what methods there are and what the different side effects are and everything. And the one said that some doctors will not prescribe estrogen to smokers because of the increased risk of blood clots. And estrogen is the best feminizing stuff ever because it is the feminizing hormone. It is the hormone that forms the secondary sex characteristics in women. It is the hormone that I wanted to be on. So I had to quit smoking. I read that on a Sunday, and that Monday I had my last cigarette. I will be 14 months free. April 1st was my first day without a cigarette. April 1st, 2014. And soon it will be 14 months cigarette free. All of that in pursuit of this. I convinced myself that if I ever had a cigarette again, then I did not want to be a woman. And that worked. That worked really well. So, I gave myself 2 ultimatums to reach. I had to quit smoking, and I had to come out to my mom. I came out to my mom the following May, and in October, 6 months cigarette free, I had my first appointment at the Mazzani Center. Now, I went informed consent route, which means I got to skip the whole psychological evaluation and all that nonsense because I was 28 years old, and I wanted to be here before I was 30. And so I went informed consent. And if your state does allow it, I recommend it. I sat there, I talked to my doctor for like an hour, discussed what the hormones are going to do to me, what side effects there are, what I need to look out for, how my body's going to react. I consented to the pills, and I had my blood drawn. At the end of December 29th, 2014, I went back for my follow-up. I met with a counselor and talked to her for about an hour about my family, about my life, my job, my transit, like my views on this. And as she stated very early on, the counseling session was not going to decide anything. It wasn't going to affect the outcome of my doctor's appointment. It was just something they do, and I was glad they did it. It was really nice. And then I met with my doctor again, and everything was good. My blood came back, it was all good, and I was given a prescription for a spironolactone, which is a testosterone blocker, and estradiol, which is an estrogen supplement. And I got my first pills December 30th. And at 7 p.m. on December 30th, I took my first dose. And since then, I have been taking them twice a day. Usually, you know, around 7 o'clock. Not always. That was my journey. the reaction I've gotten has been just fantastic. As I said, I started coming out and building bridges with people. The worst reaction I got was complete indifference, meaning that it didn't change the way they looked at me. I was still the friend they always had. Most people were incredibly excited, supportive. Oh my god. My one friend sent me paragraphs of how happy it makes them and how happy they are to see their friend do something like this. And I will always cherish that message. I will always cherish all the reactions I got from people. You know, one of my friends from college, I sent them a picture of me, one of the first pictures I took with the purple hair and the makeup, and their reaction was, "Damn, that girl is hot. Is that your girlfriend?" More recently, there was a guy that I see a lot at the one game store I go to, and you know, the first few times I was hanging out there, he didn't know I was a transphobe until I friended him on Facebook. I mean, which is so good. It felt so good. But the support I got and the positive reaction everyone gave me just gave me the strength to keep going forward. That I know no matter what happens, I made the right decision for me to start transitioning, and I am happy. No matter what, I will always have a baseline of happiness because I am the person that I truly was meant to be. Thank you for watching this video. Later this week, there will be my 5-month update, hopefully, barring any kind of natural disaster. Till then, this message is happiness. By receiving it, you are now happy. Good night.